Despite several African countries attaining a middle-income status over the past 2 decades, international sources of funding have shrunk, forcing many governments to resort to borrowing from the international bond markets. But that has come at a huge cost.
If you go for $1 billion, the $1 billion is not going to create a new asset. Maybe about 30% of the $1 billion is going to be used to service the maturing old debt, and only 70% is left to do something. And by the time the 70% is finished, we have not finished the project. So you need to go and procure another debt to service. So we are in a cycle of creating refinancing of debt through procurement of bonds.
But to remain active on the bond markets, African economies must have favorable ratings from credit rating agencies like Moody's and Fitch. And that hasn't usually been the case.
Over the past 12 months, 15 out of 35 global credit downgrades were in Africa. That's 43% of all global downgrades, according to the insurance group Chassis. Over a quarter of all downgrades of sovereign bonds were in sub-Saharan Africa alone. That pushes up borrowing costs and affects their inability to raise enough money for major infrastructure investments.
Millions of Africans are still without jobs. The investment needed to create the job is limited, and several projects have stalled. African leaders have accused the credit rating agencies of bias, depriving them of the chance to borrow on the bond markets. Some analysts say these concerns are legitimate.
The challenge has been that the credit ratings have always been very biased, and the credit ratings are always usually written by analysts who are not even based in the country.
Since 2017, the African Peer Review Mechanism, APRM, an agency established under the African Union, has been working towards a Pan-African rating agency as an alternative to the private rating agencies, with a timeline of it becoming active in 2025. But will a Pan-African rating agency solve the problem?
We need to have good leadership that is conscious of good governance, and we also need to manage the economy properly. We need to put in fiscal buffers that are needed to manage the debt itself.
While the politics of credit ratings continue, ordinary citizens just want development projects that will raise their living standards. But there are no guarantees that will happen anytime soon. Isaac Kalaji, Africa Matters, Accra, Ghana.